Hi people, thanks so much for making time to watch me on this channel. In today's video, we like to look at arterial stiffness. Arterial stiffness simply means the arteries, when the arteries become very stiff, and also vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3. But in the course of the presentation, I'll be making a combination. I'll be recommending a combination, of course, that is vitamin D3 and that is vitamin K2. But before we get into that, what we have to know is that normally the higher the elasticity of the arterial system or the blood vessels, and that is actually going to help to keep your blood pressure in check. It's going to keep your heart in a very good check, because the stiffer the arteries, that is actually going to cause a lot of work to be done by the heart, and by so doing your blood pressure is going to rise up. And you need to have that kind of ability whereby the blood vessels are very elastic, because it's going to keep your heart in a very good condition, and it is also going to avoid strokes, that is in the future. And there is a very interesting study, first of its kind, randomized clinical trial over the course of 4 months, just using 4,000 IU of vitamin D3. But like I said, in the course of the video, I will recommend you to hit more than 4,000 IU, and of course you will know why you can hit up to that standard or that level. And this trial was performed on young overweight or obese people with vitamin D3 deficient of African Americans, and what they found at the end of the study is very interesting, and of course that's why we want to talk about it in this video. And what happened was so amazing that there was a significant decrease in arterial system. The arterial system, the stiffness of the arterial system was decreased totally. It was so significant. There was a drastic change. And when it happens like that, it means that if any of these African American had blood pressure, uncontrollable one, of course, there's going to be a possibility that it can be normalized. And that is what we actually have to know if we take the supplement of vitamin D3, even from that randomized clinical trial. And so we ask ourselves the question, what is it about vitamin D3 that really helps the stiffness? And of course it's right there, and that has got to do with inflammation in vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3. It's found to be one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory. Of course, that is vitamin D3. And then it is capable of dropping inflammation of your back pain or any type of arthritis. It's really found to drop inflammation in your arteries, and of course when it happens, it's really going to cause less stiffness, and that is really going to help your arterial system to be able to manage and also put pressure in check. Yeah. So as part of the protocol, vitamin D3 is an essential component that serves as an anti-inflammatory. And of course, even from the trial, we realized that 4,000 IU, but you can actually hit a bit higher than that. You can go up to 10,000 IU. Yeah, in which actually is really going to help. Is really going to help. From the beginning, I talked about the combination of vitamin D3 and that of vitamin K2, and this is why adding vitamin K2, it's actually going to keep calcium out of the wrong place, and this is going to be done by reducing the formation of the calcium within the arteries and also within the joints. And the interesting part is that it's really going to keep the calcium in the bone, so the bone is going to become very strong. So the combination of vitamin D3 and that of vitamin K2 are very essential. Of course, you can try up to 10,000 IU of the vitamin D3, and that of the vitamin K2 you can try up to 100 IU. So the ratio is 10,000 IU of vitamin D3 is to 100 IU of the vitamin K2. And so secondly, fasting is also a very good exercise to actually cause your arterial system or your blood vessels to be very elastic. And so when you combine fasting and vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3, it is a very great weapon to fight against hypertension. And of course, if you know anybody suffering from hypertension, maybe an aged person, an adult, anybody, you can recommend them to sometimes try to fast and also take the supplement of vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3. It's a very great weapon to fight against hypertension. All right, and so the third one is what we have to know about keto. That is by lowering carbohydrate intake. Now, when you lower carbohydrate intake, it's actually going to lower the insulin that is the body is going to be produced, because we know that carbohydrates are going to be, changed into glucose. And when there's so much glucose in your body, of course, that can actually hit up, the insulin level. And so when we reduce ketos, has got to do when we reduce carbohydrates, is a very wise way to minimize the production of insulin in your body, and of course that's also really going to help. And so bringing this thing to a closure, I'd like to also state why some people do not have enough vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3 in their body. When the person is aged is a factor, and also diet. In my previous video, I talked about fish, what some oily fishes does to the body. You can also check that video and then you know more about that. So people who don't eat so much of fish, their diets have always got to do with meat and other fat products. This is not really going to help. And also when there is a removal of the gallbladder, yes, and when there is a liver problem, this can also contribute to you not being sufficiency of vitamin D3. And then when we look at these things, some people too are also not exposed to the sunlight. In the early mornings, there's a very beautiful light that the sun produces. This is very good for us, for our skins, for our bodies. And then I believe that if we are exposed to that, it's really going to help us to actually store so much of vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3. And that is of course really going to help us. And so talk of the weight, the age, insulin resistance, and the diet. These are all factors that prevent one from getting enough of vitamin D3 in their bodies, and it's really going to make their arterial system, specifically the blood vessels, to be very stiff. And of course that will not put the blood pressure in check. Thank you so very much for making time to watch me on this channel. Kindly subscribe, and if you have any question about what I've just talked about, can you please put it in the comment section, and then you can share the video also. Thank you so much, and see you another time on this channel. Bye bye.